What is a struggle that men face that women wouldn't understand? We have little to no control over what our dicks do. An erection isn't consent or support. And flaccid isn't a sign of disinterest. Flaccid not being a sign of disinterest is huge. Sometimes we don't have much control over that. I've had partners who have been angry with me for days over it though, as if it has some deeper meaning. If I'm too amiable with or around children, folks will assume I'm some kind of creep. One of the things I miss most about a girl I used to date was getting to play with her daughter in the park. Getting an erection out of nowhere and being scared someone's gonna see you and think you're a perv even though you're not even aroused. Her blood just took a wrong turn and ended up where it shouldn't. Thankfully no one can see my erections cause it's so smart. Cause I hide it very well after all these years of practice. Spontaneous erection. Having your small kids in public. I received so many comments from protective moms asking me why I'm at this park with a bunch of kids around. Am I not allowed to watch my own kids with yours around? Add to that the lack of changing tables available to men and it just doesn't make for the most pleasant time. I however am a pro at changing a diaper out of the back of a hatchback though. Life skills you never thought you would gain. Father of 2, and I've never had this happen to me. It's weird because I read about it all the time. Most of the time I start chatting with other parents and it's fine. I have a hernia that I do not fix because I do not have money. Everyone in my family knows this. Who is the first person called on to move something heavy? I'm relatively strong and do not complain. So it is me. Most people do not give a flying F about a man's medical issues/history. I was hired as a temp at a place, which was all women. They got a delivery of some heavy furniture at the office. Guess who was expected to lift said heavy furniture? As a temp, I had no health coverage. I'm in the US, and I flat out refused, and oh my god they got so pissed off. They were all full-time employees with medical benefits. That you simply can't just scratch your balls. It's more a case of pinching and twisting the itch, and men just know how to do it. No one teaches you this. Somehow all men just figured it out. Some sections you need the stretch and rake though. Calculating at light speed the exact force needed in order to squeeze another dude's hand just right when doing handshakes. All that calculation, only to botch the initial grab and do a finger shake instead. I've called for a redo when it's been a bad enough initial handshake. Nobody has ever denied it, and since we both seemed embarrassed about how poorly the first effort went, a redo seemed appreciated. You can't have fun with kids or call them cute without being labeled a creep. Kids tend to gravitate to me, and this is one of my fears. Most men got a single compliment, like 5 years ago, that we treasure to this day. A girl in a shop told me I had nice eyes a decade ago, and I'll carry that memory around with me for the rest of my life. There's no support for male victims of sexual assault. In my country there are hundreds of women's shelters, which is of course a good thing to have, but only 1 or 2 for men. Dating after school is over. I've never felt more invisible to women. I hear you. It never gets better in my experience. I've given up. I may be lonely, but I'm not resentful. I'm 27 and my little twin sisters are 13. I took them to the store and we were buying cake ingredients, and I got some weird looks. Not the end of the world, but you simply cannot have a relationship with kids as a guy and not have some people think you are a pedo. My brother is 4 years older than my twin sister and I, and we don't look alike. He has dark brown hair and we have blonde hair. He'd always take us to get snacks when he was in his early 20s and we were in our late teens. And other guys would always yell things at him about how he was the man for getting 2 girls, and he constantly had to be like they are my sisters. People have a lot of weird preconceived notions about how men and women/girls interact, and apparently forget that guys and girls can be related. We're expected to be strong enough to handle whatever life throws at us, but yet also at the same time we are supposed to be open and vulnerable enough to talk about emotions and feelings. Nope, that's a trap. Talking to women unprompted is literally the only way anything is gonna happen for men like 95% of the time. and you risk getting screenshotted and mocked if you don't know what to do. Wing it and crash and burn awkwardly, which is gonna happen a few times till you figure it out. Never doesn't feel awkward, but it feels like your reputation is at stake every time. There is no compassion for men who struggle with life. I have a husband with CPTSD. He has some trauma just from trying to tell those around him that he was traumatized. It makes me sick thinking about the things people have said and done to him. I'm so alone. I'm alone with my pain. I'm alone with my fears. I'm alone with my uncertainty. I'm alone with my dreams. I'm alone with my happiness. I'm alone with my problems. I'm alone with their problems. I'm alone against life. In a room filled with loved ones. I'm alone. The only things I'm not alone with are my successes and my finances. There's always someone trying to take part in that. I love my nieces and nephews to death. They love me back. I'm one of the cool uncles. Once, my brother asked me if I could watch his daughter for him for an afternoon. No problem. I get along with her great and my kids love her too. She can even bring her dog if she likes. Then I get a text later asking if my wife can call his wife for some details. I reply that she's at work and I'm alone with the kids. They reply that they'll find someone else. I later heard that his wife didn't want me alone with her daughter because she doesn't trust men. That really hurt. The sheer loneliness that can be associated with a man not having a good social support network. Imagine being cut off from most, if not all, external input for a period of 6 months. My experience was due to COVID. This is not necessarily a gendered issue, but it affects men and women. However, many men seem to be poorly equipped to deal with isolation. I suspect this problem affects men of certain ages more than others, but it started for me at age 22. This loneliness can create an echo chamber in one's head, and when combined with severe depression and anxiety, the results can be disastrous for mental health. I think it will be years before we really understand the impact of quarantine and isolation during COVID on people's mental health. I can already see the effects on some grade school aged children already in my neighborhood, because their parents say they struggle to make friends at a level I have never heard of before. I hope we learn from that how to do a better job of isolating when the next big virus comes around. Male mental health stigma is a struggle often overlooked. Let's promote understanding and support. Yee. I remember when I was 15 I was having lots of panic attacks and just generally suffered from anxiety. When I talked to my parents about it, they told me to find my own therapist. Feeling like I can't provide. I have a job with what used to be pretty good pay. Our economy and inflation has caused it to feel like the things we used to occasionally now feels like we never have the opportunity to because of income. Also looking intimidating. I'm a fairly big dude, 6'1", 290 I shall BS with a beard. People look at me and see me as some asshole when in reality I'm a very friendly and approachable person. Nobody to confide in. If you're struggling, society expects you to just push through it and don't show your emotion. You can start breaking down those barriers with your own male friends. My husband and his friends talk about their emotional needs and mental health regularly. You just have to start the conversation and start breaking down those barriers. Vulnerability is scary, but it's also freeing. Another one. Your worth as a person is directly correlated to how much money you earn. As a man, the majority of people will treat you worse than dirt if they know you are poor or unemployed. Your net worth is your worth as a person, and there are absolutely no freebies. This one, man. Sometimes it feels like my whole life is summed up by my bank account, and that's all anyone sees. My interests, concerns, hobbies and loves don't matter. All that really matters is how much I earn at the end of the day, and the summary is bleak. If you interact with kids, particularly female, you are a pedophile. No, you sick fucks. I don't want to hug the 8-year-old kid because I want to bang her. It's because her parents just divorced. Her pet died 2 weeks ago, and the school bully poured yogurt in her school bag for the second time this week, while you admit what's cold and be bothered to raise a single pube hair to help. Do you really want to live in a world where admin has the ability to articulate individual pubes? Sorry, the issue you mentioned is very real, but you picked a vivid image and I wanted to riff on it. Well, the fact that men can be mocked for their height or baldness or any other aspect of their body and nobody really cares. Also the fact that men tend to have less friends and their primary value in society is the income they generate. So they often end up both isolated and feeling terrible about themselves. People call me ugly till they find out how much I make. Then they call me ugly and poor. Not being touched for months or even years. Or even decades. Open bracket. That last drop that always ends up in your pants. Unfortunately that's relatable for women. As soon as I stand up there's more thanks aging. The obsession with D-size when that's something that literally nobody can change. Men do it to themselves at lot TBF. Everybody gotta stop using it as the go-to insult. That's it. Facing aggression from other males for bullshit reasons. Every guy wants to show how hung he is by beating up someone weaker. I don't. Even if the other person is smaller/weaker than me, getting punched in the face sucks. I'll pass. Word.